Well, good news. Bayern Munich is willing to sell Sabitzer, and to confirm this, they've gone through their journalist, known as Christian Falk, to reveal to Manchester United the permanent purchase price of Sabitzer to Manchester United. It's an absolute steal. That's how I can call it or refer to it. And obviously, if we can't get Sabitzer, then who else can we get in his levels at that price? 28 years of age with this price, and I'm going to reveal to you guys, it's really an absolute steal that Erik ten Hag can't afford to lose at Manchester United. Welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? There is a blog coming in from the human rights for the Qataris to take over Manchester United. They've gone ahead to write to UEFA, informing them that please don't let the Qataris take over Manchester United because of the human rights they violated during the construction of the stadiums in Qatar. Then lastly, finally, Ten Hag has gone ahead to reveal to us why he always comes out on the field of play close to 4-3 hours to the game of football every time, because he has done it every time ever since he came in through in the preseason. He did it. He's doing it on regular every time we're going to play a game of football as Manchester United. So Rock and David is my name. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We want to hit 12,000. Is it 11? I think we want to hit 11,000 subscribers, and we are just like 50 subscribers away. So let's continue subscribing. How do you subscribe? Lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell, that whenever you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Now let's set this rolling. Sabitzer has impressed at Manchester United. In just 3 games, he's just that player that you'd like to reckon with for the future of Manchester United. When you look at him play, you just can't wait to see him play alongside Casemiro. And today he's not going to play in that game of Barcelona. You know the reason. He's suspended. But in the return leg, that's when we're going to see them play together with Casemiro, if at all the manager chooses to bring them on in that beautiful game of football. Now, I brought you a story, I think 2 days back, that Bayern is willing to sell Sabitzer to Manchester United. And obviously, when you're willing to sell, or in any monetary terms trade, you expect what we call money to exchange hands. Now, there is a Bayern correspondent known as Christian Falk, very close to Bayern Munich. He talks to the board members, known as Christian Falk. He works for Sports Build in Germany. He has told us that Bayern Munich believe 20 million euros would be a realistic price to sell Sabitzer in the summer to Manchester United. Now, do you know what 20 million euros is? I think it's like 16 million pounds. 17 million pounds. Guys, see the class and quality of the player you're talking about. That is Sabitzer. He's really an absolute beast. He's a monster in that midfield. He's technically gifted. He's an all-round midfielder. Talk of every attribute you would love your midfielder to have, Sabitzer has it. And he's an all-round player. He has played as a left-back, central defensive midfielder. He has played in the double pivot. He has played as a central attack midfielder or a number 10. He has played as a left winger, right winger, and a false 9. That is Sabitzer for you. He is a quality player. And according to the performance, he's gone ahead and really put up under the Ericsson Hag era in just 3 games. I believe 20 million euros is an absolute steal. That's why I call it an absolute steal. But why are they selling him 20 million euros? It's because they believe that his price might drop off a lot if at all they don't sell him, as he's out of the plans of the manager of Bayern Munich, Nagelsmann, as revealed by Portugal. I think he works for Sky Germany. He's also a close journalist to Bayern Munich, that Nagelsmann is not willing to sell this, is not willing to keep this player, and that was confirmed when Erik ten Hag made his first advance onto his former Ajax player known as Ryan Gravenberch. They told him, we are not giving you this player on loan, but we are having Sabitzer. If you are willing to take him, just go out and really have him into your team. That's what Ten Hag really had. And obviously, he brought him through, and Sabitzer has been really instrumental in the 2 starts he has made for Manchester United, both against Leeds. The first goal we score against Leeds at Old Trafford that puts us back in the game. It's Sabitzer that switches that ball to the blind side to find Pelestri. Facundo plays a back ball to Dallo crosses in, Rashford heads it home. In the game of Leeds away at Aaron Road on Saturday, you know what he did. That pass to the blind side to find Luke Shaw in a switch play. And Luke Shaw goes in for a cross that finds Rashford and heads it at the back of the net. It shows you how good this player is. And if at all they tell you his 20 million euros price, guys, that's an absolute steal. According to me, we are getting too much quality. It's like getting a Ferrari for a price of a Benz or a Nissan car. You know what I'm meaning. It's like you go to a shop, you go in to buy a phone of $1,000 and you end up being given a phone of $5,000 because I believe Sabitzer, with what he's playing and doing at Manchester United, if at all Bayern called for bidding war, they could find a team that could get them even 40 million euros because this guy is really elite class. Look at how much we bought Casemiro. We bought Casemiro at 70 million pounds. That is like 80 million euros. Now, if Casemiro came in at that price, I believe Sabitzer is really having a better, Sabitzer is younger, you know that very well. He's younger, 28 years of age. Remember, we brought in Casemiro at the age of 30 and we paid 70 million pounds. Then for Sabitzer, we're going to pay 60 million pounds. I believe Bayern just want to make a profit of like 80 million euros because they bought him at 12 million euros from a side known as RB Leipzig. And when you look at his contract and when it's running out, they signed him, I think they signed him in 2021. You get, after signing him in 2021, he signed a 4-year contract, meaning that he still even has 2 years more on his contract, because his contract is expiring in 2025. I believe they would have gotten more out of him, but Bayern is calling in for 20 million euros for the player that I believe is really hugely and massively talented. But that's an absolute steal for Manchester United, and music to Ericsson, because he's going to sign in a player that has been on loan and perfected everything that he believes a United player should be having. So he's going to bring him in. And I've always told you that I think Sabitzer is going to be the first signing of Manchester United, because United won't give any chance to any club, because hijacks are really made. And I think Sabitzer will be pushing to see it that United go in for him. And I believe we might even agree a deal with Bayern Munich before the end of the season, because if the performances of Sabitzer keep increasing, of which I believe they are going to go ahead and do so, United will contact Bayern and tell them, please, can we get this deal out of the way and see Sabitzer sign with us and agree a deal in principle that the moment he hits 1st July, he's our player? Obviously, I think that will come in through, because a Sabitzer goal is not far away. And I think he's going to fire in like 6-7 goals this season before we close it down. That is Marcel Sabitzer for you. And I'm having one of my best people who describe players. He calls himself EBL 2017 on Twitter. You can as well follow him up. He has good threads that you can really go ahead to understand more the game of football and what tactics and what qualities does a certain player really behold in his career. Now, he told us that Sabitzer's debut last night is exactly what I said. He's Ericsson, except a more mobile and more technically, despite being capable of striking through the ball on both feet, but quite simply not as reliably as Ericsson, and that makes him worse despite being more complete. And he was really referring to how good this player is for Manchester United, that is like he's more or less an Ericsson, but an Ericsson that is really aggressive, tenacious, and covers a lot of distance. His intensity is really great, and his build-up play is out of this world. And I believe he's a player that has really made his mark under Eric Ten Hag. Ten Hag just saw him just the first training session, and he said he's fit, he's sharp, and ready to go for the game. Those are players that Ten Hag would love to have in his team, because he loves players that are really ever ready to play the game of football for his team, because he said this is a squad game. If at all you are in my squad, that means anytime I call you upon, you should be able to show up. So that is it for United and Sabitzer. Bayern have revealed Sabitzer's selling price to Manchester United, and United would love to keep this guy because he's out of this world, and that deficiency in our midfield calls in for a player like Sabitzer to be signed at Old Trafford. Now let's go to the Qataris. They've hit what we call a block. You get, it's like they're hitting a dead end to take over Manchester United. We are being told by The Athletic that UEFA has been asked to block any Qatari-led takeover of Manchester United to ensure integrity across their competitions. That's what has been said by Athletic. And who has gone ahead to do this? It's the human rights research and advocacy group Fair Square has now written to UEFA President Alexander Seferin and Premier League Chief Executive Richard Masters, urging UEFA to publicly prohibit any takeover of United while QSI still owns PSG. Then they concluded by saying that the letter also points out the ties between the country's major investment vehicles and the ruling family and to each other, such as the chairman of QES sitting on the board of Qatar Investment Authority. Qatar does claim QSI is independent of QIA. So, the human rights have come in through to block Qatar to take over Manchester United. The first hinge that was looked at as an impossibility for United to being sold to Qatar was Qatar Investment Authority being the owner of PSG. And according to how Qatar went ahead to really explain out there where they want to buy out Manchester United to UEFA gave them green light to take over Manchester United. But this time round, I think there is a twist in this, and it's really going to be a huge collusion, because when you look at what was happening in Qatar during the World Cup, the English media concentrated so much more on the human rights that were violated in Qatar during the construction of the World Cup stadiums, that the employees were paid less and many died on the job of building those stadiums and they are not compensated. That's it. Or their families were not compensated. So, when you look at that, it points out that the Premier League might really reject it because the English is not really interested in that. But to bring you up to speed, yesterday I read a story that United Kingdom is willing to welcome the Qataris with wide arms. They are willing to welcome the Qataris with wide arms because of the investment they are planning to put in Manchester. They hinted about the city of Manchester lacking 5-star hotels, that they want to develop Old Trafford, build their infrastructures not only around Old Trafford but in the entire Manchester city, and they're having a package of a lot of wealth to go in and really inject into the city of Manchester. And the English Supreme leaders are so much ready to allow them to come in through. Now, when you look at UEFA, I don't believe they are going to interject this and stop it. Do you know why? UEFA and FIFA were so much involved in the World Cup preparations down in Qatar. They never came out to give out a statement or to issue a statement that really downplayed the efforts of Qatar, meaning that they are in good books of history with Qatar. UEFA works hand in hand with FIFA, and I think that is one of those things that you can highly anticipate for, that this block is not going to be given green light. The Premier League that would have given it green light is so much wanting an investment to come into the UK, and they know that they are beneficiaries, Look at what they did to the assets of the ex-Chelsea owner, Romano Abramovich. You know what happened? They confiscated all of them, the yachts, the houses, everything that he had in UK. They confiscated them. That's it. Even the amount of money that he was demanding Chelsea, 1.5 billion pounds, they have it because they stored it on an offshore account, meaning that they can even use it. And then when everything is resolved between Russia and Ukraine, then they'll use it. They'll get that money and pay it back to him. But trust me, they're the ones who are real beneficiaries. And I think because they know that Qataris have a dark spot, they want them to come to Manchester United, buy it, do the investments in Manchester, and if at all 2, 3, 4 years from now it happens that the Qataris are not wanted anymore in the footballing history of Manchester United, then they can confiscate all their properties, because this is how countries work. But I believe at the start of the bid, I think this is all nothing. However much they write to the Premier League that they own PSG, human rights violations, I believe none of that is going to stop Qataris from taking over Manchester United, because it looks like they are the people that are really going to put in a bid that no one can really outbid. And to let you know, the last day to bid is tomorrow, Friday, 10 p.m. UK time. That's it. You are supposed to put your bid in writing in just one paragraph and indicate your wealth and how you are willing to, and where you're willing to get this money to go ahead and really complete this bid of Manchester United. So that's it, but I believe nothing should worry you about Qatar being blocked. I know there are very many other things that are really biting in, but I think it boils out into a situation that we can't see this blocked. It's not going to be blocked. It's not going to be blocked because I think the Premier League needs the Qataris getting in more money, because the most supported team in the world is Manchester United, amidst it having fallen down a lot in its performance over the last 10 years. But imagine if United gets back to its winning ways. That means the English or the UK are the ones that really benefit a lot, because most of the income that comes into Manchester United is being collected in UK. Income, profits are being spent by Manchester United in UK. The players they buy and keep them in United Kingdom really spend most of their money in UK. You get taxes go to the government. I think that benefits the UK government a lot, and they would love to see United get back to the top of the world football as far as the club level is really concerned, because they're having the name, and when you look at the hallmarks, they are really indicating that Ten Hag is really taking United back to the glory days, as we have gone ahead to be third and just 5 points behind the table leaders, that is Arsenal and Manchester City. It shows you that we are getting back, and if at all Ten Hag is backed by Qataris, obviously he'll be in a position to outcompete all his other opponents in the league. Now, let me first show you this photo, because most of you have always asked yourself, why has this turned into a habit to the manager of Manchester United to do it every time? That is Eric Ten Hag, and he is doing this on a regular basis. He did it yesterday while he arrived at Camp Nou, and obviously just 4 hours to the game he was onto the pitch, as you see him there. That is Eric Ten Hag, and most of you might be asking, what is the reason? You get, what is the chemistry behind this action of Eric Ten Hag? I know most of you, because you're African, you might think that maybe it's like his witching style, that he comes out through and really tries to plant his witch on the field of play. That's out. Ten Hag has gone ahead to reveal to us why he usually does this gesture every time he goes out on a field. He says, I usually do, always when I come to our stadium in the Premier League or Europe, I go onto the pitch, I want to see the pitch, I want to see the quality of the pitch, and I take into account in my preparation. So he says he comes out there to know the quality of the pitch, how long, how tall the grass is, and that will help him really to give the right analysis or the right tactics to his players on how they're going to play the game of football. And that is Ten Hag for you. He concluded by saying you have a certain feeling in each stadium, but it's just a matter of imagination and how you want to prepare your team. All the little details can make the difference. That is Erik Ten Hag for you, and obviously him at Camp Nou, and why he has really gone ahead to be doing that ever since he came in at Old Trafford. But it's not only him. It's not only him that does it. I think his entire coaching staff is always with him, and they really move together to monitor or inspect that pitch. So guys, thank you very much for watching in through. Your thoughts to Sabitzer to United permanent pass you price revealed. What are your thoughts about it? To me, I think it's an absolute steal. Are you in unison with me as far as that is concerned? Then Qatari's United takeover blocked by a certain human rights by writing a letter to UEFA and Premier League. Do you think it's going to be blocked? Yes or no? And lastly, what are your thoughts about Ten Hag's habit of really going onto the pitch like 2, 3, 4 hours of the game when there are no fans and the entire stadium is empty? Rock and David remains my name. May the Almighty God bless you abundantly. Guys, I sign out for now. I'm returning, I think, in like 2 hours time from now. I'm going to be here doing the match day live. United away at Barcelona. Who is starting, who is not starting, analyzing and giving a deep analysis of what I think about that game of Barca versus Manchester United. Guys, bye. See you when the match day live session really commences in a nick of time. That is Barcelona versus United in the Spotify Camp Nou Stadium down in Spain, Catalonia.